Coping with Tre Tailor, giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we'll always be coping with something. Coping. Hey there, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us for Coping. I'm Tre Tailor. We're giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life because we will always be coping with something. Today, we're coping with legacy. That's right, legacy and community service. Reverend Carey Grady joins us from Reid Chapel AME Church. He's going to be telling us about the 70th anniversary of the historic Reid School and Reid Chapel Church. Pastor Grady, thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. We're going to come back with Pastor Grady coming up next to talk about the 70th anniversary of Reid. But first, check the scroll at the bottom of the screen for resources and information about COVID vaccine, COVID testing, financial resources, also jobs, housing, and help with your bills. Also, information on scholarships and several community events. All of that will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen throughout the show. So please post and share so we can get the message to the masses. We're also streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Go over to our social media outlets and please hit like, share, and follow. I'm Tre Tailor, and you're watching Coping, hosted by me, Tre Tailor. We're giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life because we will always be coping with something. Today, we're coping with legacy. Reverend Carey Grady joins us from Reid Chapel AME Church. Reverend Grady, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you coming on.
Oh, just thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So 78 years that Reid Chapel and Reid have been in our communities. Take us back and tell us how it came to be that the church like their community.
Wonderful. Well, it started, we're part of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, which is a part of the larger part of the Wesleyan and Methodist tradition. We know that our denomination started in 1787. At the St. George Methodist Episcopal Church, Richard Allen and others. Richard Allen purchases slavery for $2,000. He was worshiping at St. George Methodist Episcopal Church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Blacks at that time had to sit at what they call the balcony or the gallery. Right. He went down to pray. They were pulled off of their knees. Once he was pulled off of his knees, they were pulled off their knees because of the color of their skin to pray at the altar. They stormed out. They started a worship facility, a church at a blacksmith shop. And that's why to this very day, the African Methodist Episcopal Church, the logo is the cross and the anvil being symbolizing that blacksmith shop. But we are part of that larger body, that larger religious institution, which was the first Black religious institution in America. How we started in 1953, one of the bishops of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, then Bishop Frank Madison Reid Sr., was the Bishop of South Carolina. He was driving through what we now know as Greenview. There was only one church in Greenview at that time, and that was Greenview First Baptist. And he felt there was a need for a growing community to have another church. And so that was.
Now, was Greenview First Baptist a white church or African American church?
African American church.
It was,
yes,
okay.
and still present, and had not been there that much longer than when. Had not been that much before Reid Chapel was planted. So he sends a gentleman by the name Reverend Lee M. Seward to be the first pastor. Reverend Seward actually at the time was a high school teacher in Winsboro in Fairfield County. He came and was looking through the neighborhood, scouting the neighborhood, and he noticed there were lots of children in the community. Now this is very unique because by 1953, or when the church was planted, the only place that African-American veterans, World War II veterans, could buy property with their GI Bill was in the Greenview community.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And so really, when you look at the history of this community, a lot of veterans, particularly from World War II. So he knew that he was tasked with planting this church. He planted the church, but realized with all the children in the community, there needed to be a school. And so that's how we have Reid Chapel AME Church and Reid School.
Wow.
One of the things that's very unique, the first year or two of the running of the school, Allen University helped out with the staffing and programming of the school until this new church was strong enough to run the ship by itself.
Wow, that is an amazing, amazing story. So that's 70 years ago when
70
Vivi
years
Reed is
ago.
there. And you know, you hear so much about Vivi Reed being such a stalwart, so to speak, in not only in the Greenview community, but in the city of Columbia. So many people not only have talked about Vivi Reed, have graduated from Vivi Reed, but now bring their children back to Vivi Reed.
Right, right. No, I mean their generations have gone to VVB. One of the things that we did on our website several years ago is we had a young lady who was in our school whose father went to the school and her grandmother went to the
Mm.
school. That was three generations,
Generations.
and we have so many that are like that. We have three generations. There's not a day that I don't go to the supermarket or somewhere. Oh, I went to V Reed, and those persons are 30 years older than me.
Yeah.
We have members of the church who were a part of the first graduating class of VB Reed. Congressman Clyburn, Jennifer, and Angela both
And
went to
Angela
VB Reed.
and their
And
kids and Angela's kids are going there now.
right, absolutely, absolutely. And so it's just been a stalwart. One of the things that really hits me is that the school was founded in 1953 at the height of segregation, and
Mm,
so there was no place else to send our children. And
right.
so that was what was so powerful. Reverend Seward was sent to plant a church, and he had the foresight and the vision then to say we've got to do something with our young people, a place, a safe haven where they can be educated and where we could, shape their minds up in the life of the church.
Yeah. Reverend Carey Grady joins us. He is the pastor of Reid Chapel. We are coping with legacy today, and we're talking about the 70th anniversary of Reid Chapel and also Vivi Reid School. We've been talking about the legacy, as I said, of Vivi Reid School. I'm sure if you're watching now, if it's not you, you know someone who is attended the Vivi Reid School, and of course, it's still standing right there at the original location today, still educating young people. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, wonderful. So through the years, of course, BB Reed has grown and expanded. It started and what has been described as a single room building, one room that was a church Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but it was a school Monday through Friday. We still have some members who would remember taking down the cots and getting ready for weekend services. We start at 6 weeks and we go all the way up to the third grade. Um, um, BB Reed has always prided itself on having an advanced curriculum, meaning, and this is what some of the stalwarts and founders did. Persons like Ms. Eleanor Reynolds, who was the board chair for years and years and years, and Sister Eleanor Reynolds was still living, but she was an educator herself. They wanted to make sure that our students were prepared so that when they got to public school, they could succeed. That's
Right.
the best way to sell the school, right? So what they did was, if you were in kindergarten, you really were doing first grade work. If you were in first grade when the elementary school started, you were really doing second grade work, and that's something that they have still kept up. Even today, when teachers want students in first grade or second grade who went to BB Reid School. One of the things that the school does exceptionally well, and our illustrious director, Reverend Janie Williams, who was trained by Ms. Ruth C. Simon, who was the director of the school for 40 years. She gave 40 years of her
Wow.
life. And I mean, there's not a day that we don't hear a wonderful story about Ms. Ruth Simon. And you also have persons like Reverend Liam Seward, the Reverend Richardson, who the school under his administration as pastor and CEO, under his administration in the late 70s, early 80s, the school just quadrupled in numbers. And then under Reverend Glover, so on and so forth. And so one of the things that is incorporated in the school is public speaking and the arts,
So important.
dance, all of that was a part of the school. There's no school, public or private, where the students are as well trained at public speaking than at VB Reed.
Now, I love that because that is a lost art. You know, we are so technologically advanced now. People don't, realize public speaking is so important. You know, our kids are texting, they're Facebooking, they're Instagramming, they're Snapchatting, they're doing more nonverbal communication. I mean, I'm sure you've seen, you can be in a room full of young people, old people too, and everybody's looking down on their phone. Nobody's having a conversation. And
Right,
so
right.
I know that that is troubling when kids, your young people, go into the workforce, when they're trying to get a job, even in interpersonal communication. People are not communicating effectively because they don't have strong verbal communication skills. So I love that Vivi Reid is focusing on that, because that is important. I don't care what technology comes. It's nothing like an effective verbal conversation.
Right, right. I think we highlight our students, of course. Martin Luther King weekend, they do some things for prior to the weekend, lifting up his life and legacy. Of course, African American History Month is a powerful Black History program. Of
Yeah.
course, there is an Easter program every year that highlights the students' arts and public speaking, and then the Christmas program. I think the highlight historically has always been May Day, which is the first Saturday of May. And really, the school has had May Day every single year except for 2020 and 2021. We did not do them because of COVID,
COVID, yeah.
but we did resume in 2022, and it's been absolutely wonderful. And of course, one of the highlights is the wrapping of the May Day pole.
Maypole, yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Pastor Carey A. Grady joins us. He is the pastor of Reid Chapel AME Church. We're talking about the 70th anniversary of not only Vivi Reid School, but of the church. Now, you guys are kind of kicking off a year-long celebration this Sunday. Tell us about that, Reverend Grady.
Yes, so our year-long celebration is this coming Sunday, 10 a.m. at Reid Chapel African Methodist Episcopal Church. We have as our preacher the presiding bishop of the state of South Carolina for the African Methodist Episcopal Church. His name is Bishop Samuel Lawrence Green. Again, that's at 10 a.m. at 704 Gabriel Street. Our theme is Ephesians 2:8. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works. And our theme for the year is celebrating our legacy by the grace of God. We know that we have made it thus far, not just because of the hard work of the dedicated individuals, not just because not just because, but because of God's grace, God's mercy, God's love, God's kindness, and really we're just excited that God has allowed us through the years, all the pastors through the years, all the executive directors through the years, all the principals, all the teachers, staff, and the students, that God has allowed us to serve. And we're by kicking off the celebration in March. It's just the beginning. We will culminate in October of 2023. We have various activities at the church and the school. Some of them we already have mentioned. But May Day this year will be a sight to just experience, to see and experience. We're adding a parade to it. We're going to have turn into a music festival. And so we have a lot of things planned that weekend. And May Day is really one of the largest activities that the school has. And we just want to touch the breadth and depth of this community.
Awesome. So if people want more information about the year-long festivities, is there the Vivi Reid website or the church website where they can find those events out?
Yes. You can go. Now, since we're just starting the big kickoff, there's more to come, but you can go to vvreid.org. You can also go to reidchapel.org. Wonderful. There it is. Also, if you are an alumni, and we really need your help on this, if you are an alumni, please go to vvreidalumni.com and register.
All right, vvreidalumni.com. If you ever went to Vivi Reid or know someone who went to Vivi Reid, they want to involve you in helping them celebrate the illustrious 70 years that the church and school has been such a major impact in the Columbia, South Carolina, and Greenview community.
One of the things that we launched the Alumni Association in 2016, and like many things because of COVID, but you will be hearing a lot of information about the alumni organization during this season of our 70th anniversary. To be honest, we want alumni, those who've been touched. You know, I meet persons all the time. I went to VV Reid, but I've also met persons who have said that they're best friends. They knew them at VV Reid. They may have gone to different middle schools and high schools. Some went to school, public school together as well. Met a person the other day. Their best man they met at VV Reid.
Wow.
And so we want to collect that collective alumni organization and let them be a part of the continuing of this great legacy.
Awesome. For more information on the VV Reid and Reid Chapel AME Church 70th anniversary. Again, you can see the information on the screen. Go to the website. Don't forget, if you are an alum of VV Reid, please go to that website. Again, that information is on the screen, and register to be part of the 70th anniversary. Of course, the kickoff for all of this is this Sunday at 10 a.m. at Reid Chapel AME Church. Pastor Grady, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for recognizing the importance of celebrating not only the church, but the school too, and how much impact it's had on the community. Good luck to you. God bless. And I look forward to, and I know the community does too, a great 70th year celebration.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Pastor Carey A. Grady of a Reid Chapel AME Church. So listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope, you can see the information on the screen scrolling. Please email booking@copingwithtretatailor.com, booking@copingwithtretatailor.com. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope, we would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like DHEC and it Together, the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office, Attorney Byron Gibson. Also, Palmetto Media Connections, Javis Financial Services, the Comet Bus System, the South Carolina State Fair, and Agape Counseling and Training Services. Coming up next, your devotional on coping. I'm Tre Tailor. We'll be right back.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Hi, I'm Tre Tailor. We'll always be coping with something, but God is always with us. Today's devotion says, when something in your life or thoughts make you anxious, come to me and talk to me. Thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity to trust you more. That's what we should say. Though the lessons of trust that I send you come wrapped with difficulties, the benefits far outweigh the cost. Well-developed trust will bring you many blessings, not the least of which is my peace. I have promised to keep you in perfect peace to the extent that you trust in me. The world has it backwards, teaching that peace is the result of having enough money, possessions, insurance, security systems. But my peace, God says, is such an all-encompassing gift that it's independent of all circumstances. Though you lose everything else, if you gain my peace, you are rich indeed. That's your devotional for today.
Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success, for improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive, ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting, learning what you can do, 6 ways to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive